Hello student, I am Mrs. Alka Sharma from NCMS Jhabua. Today I am taking the class 10 Social Science Geography Chapter 2, Chapter 4, that is Agriculture. Now I already explained you the types of farming, cropping patterns of India, what are the commercial farming. Now today I am taking what are the horticulture crops, non-food crops, technical and institutional reforms will be done to improve the agriculture crops, impact of globalization on agriculture, gene revolution and benefits of changing cropping pattern in India. First, what are the called horticulture crops? Horticulture crops, seeds, these include the cultivation of both fruits and vegetables. They comes under these horticulture crops. Now, there are so many important vegetables producers in India are mostly we are growing pea, cauliflower, onion, cabbage, tomato and potatoes. Since vegetables it requires less time for growth, not too much irrigation facilities, so they can grow in the Z season or in the alternation of Kharif and Rabi season also, and that is also a good source of income for the farmers. Next, most of the fruits are the plantation crops. So India produces both tropical or as well as the temperate fruits in India. Now you know the fruits growing area in India are where the large amount of the particular type of fruits are grown. So see that here the mango. Do you know the mango grow in which states more? That is Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and West Bengal. Next one is orange. It is growing in the area state Nagpur, Cherrapunji in Meghalaya. Banana, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala and Mizoram. Next, pineapple. It grows well in Meghalaya. Grapes, Maharashtra, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Lychee and guava, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Apple, pear, apricot and walnut. Mostly these are grown in Himachal Pradesh and Jammu Kashmir state. Now these we studied what are the grains and fruits. Now we are going to study what are the non-food crops. So first I am explaining you about the rubber. It is a non-food crops. It is mostly grown in the equatorial. It is a equatorial crop, but do you know if there is some special conditions are provided, so they can grow well in the tropical areas. So see, it is an important industrial raw material and it is used for various other purposes. So rubber plantation is a very good agriculture product. Now in 2012 and 13, India ranked 4th among the world natural rubber producer. Next, non-food crops, that is cotton. Fiber crops, this comes under fiber. Cotton, jute, hemp and natural silk. These are the 4 major fiber crops that is grown in India. Do you know the first 3, cotton, jute and hemp, these are the plant products, but the silk, it is obtained from cocoon of the silkworm, that it is fed on the green leaves of mulberry trees, especially mulberry leaves it is eating. So that field where these are, that is called sericulture. Now after that there is a cotton. India is believed to be an original home of cotton. Do you know it is one of the major raw material for cotton textile industries. Cotton grow in good and dry parts of the black cotton soils of the Deccan Plateau. You see how much it requires high temperature, light rainfall or irrigation and 210 frost-free days and bright sunshine for its growth. Do you know it is a Kharif crop and it requires 6 to 8 months to mature, and there is a large scope for the farmers to grow cotton for the cotton textile industries. Next one is a jute. Do you know jute is also known as golden fiber? Do you know why it is, where it is used and why it is used? Because its fiber is very strong, and due to its roughness it is used to make gunny bags, mats, ropes, yarns, carpets and other products. Due to its high cost, it is now losing its market to synthetic fibers and packing materials, particularly with the nylons. Now, so you have studied what are the other crops. Now, what are the different reforms done to improve these agriculture products? So now we are going to study technological and institutional reforms. Institutional reforms. Major institutional reforms include collectivization. Collectivization means there are small farmers, they are having small part of land. So what our government has done, they combine all the small farmers together so they can do the farming collectively. So it will give more profit to them. Consolidation of land holding like Chakbandi means again they had distributed the land, and development, they had developed the cooperative societies. Abolition of zamindari system, because earlier there was a zamindari system, so the farmers are too much exploited, that is removed. And as a right of inheritance means the land holding to, and do you know, due to this inheritance the land reduce its productivity, because land is divided so many times. So a land reform was the main focus during first 5-year plan. So what happened in this institutional reform, our government has started collectivization, consolidation, land holding, development of cooperative society. So in this way that there will be more land for the farmers, so they can increase the production. Technological reform, what type of technologies they use? Now the law of land forms were enacted for their implement. See, Government of India during 1960 and 70, they introduced agriculture reforms, means they want to improve the Indian agriculture system, like green and white revolution. Do you know green revolution? We had developed the high HYV seed, high yield variety seeds, and we had started using fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides. So what happened? By using this, our farmer has started use. So this has done a big revolution in this agriculture field, and we had increased the production. Next one they had done, these are white revolution. White revolution, again they had used these high yield variety of in the milk production, in the cow breeds, and that increased the in field of milk, like milk industries, milk made materials and transportation in this way. So we had done the in green revolution, means we had developed agriculture very well, and this white revolution means we had developed the milk production by using high yield varieties of the breeds of the cows and buffaloes. So we had so these comes under technological reforms. Agriculture finance. Now question comes, okay, the farmer want to do the agriculture, so what type of facilities will be provided by the government for them? See this. So government has established some Gramin bank, that is called regional rural banks, cooperative societies and banks. So what they are doing, they are providing loans, facilities to the farmers at lower rate of interest. So the farmers, small farmers, they can buy the seeds, they want to buy the seeds, they want to do the develop the irrigation system and all. So they need the money. So from where they get the money? They can get the money from these banks. So in this way it will help for their development. See, land development program. After that, in the 1980, many institutional and technical reforms were made to under comprehensive land development program, like programs LDP, provision for crop insurance against. See, suppose the farmers are growing crops and maybe it will be fail due to some drought, by the flood, by cyclone, by fire or by disease, all these type of natural disaster. So there is a provision for crop insurance. If their crops will be damaged, the government will provide the money to them. Other reforms, Other reforms, what type of other schemes are given by the government for these farmers? First one is KCC. It is called Kisan Credit Card. This scheme gives easy and cheap by if the farmer is having this card, Kisan Credit Card, so they will get easily and cheap loans to small farmer. Suppose any personal accident insurance scheme, PAIS, for the Kisan credit card holders. These type of facilities they will got. Special weather, do you know? For the farmers, earlier some special weather bulletin programs have started. Agriculture programs for the farmer were introduced. These are introduced through radios and the television channel, so the farmer get earlier information which time when they have to be sown the seeds, what are the time for harvesting the crops, and all these information are given, they are getting by these radios and television channels. Government also announced some minimum support price for various agriculture products like cereals, pulses and others. Why they had started these minimum? Because they stop exploited by the middleman. So directly the farmer, whatever the crops they had grown, they can sell these to the government. Next, impact of can the globalization affect on the agriculture? Yes. Now their globalization means the farmers and they have to be compete with other countries. So you see, globalization is a time for during 19th century also spices were exported during that time to Europe. Especially the farmers who are living in the South India were encouraged to grow spices because these spices are exported to many countries. And even today spices is one of the most important export crops from India. Its demand is everywhere in the world. Next, cotton. Cotton was also exported earlier and to mills. Early it was exported to mills in Manchester and Liverpool for textile industries. Indigo. Indigo was also exported to Britain for textile industry, and this forced this forced indigo production, and during that time these Britishers they forced these farmers to grow indigo in their land. So they started Champaran movement in 1917 in Bihar. Agriculture has, you have seen, agriculture has a different dimension. Farmers in Europe and America, they are highly subsidized their government and thus are farm and they will get good development. But our farmers are not able to compare with them on the price. Under globalization, particularly after 1990, so the farmer in India have to expose a new challenges. The green revolution has resulted, as you know, when we have started the green revolution, during that time our farmer has used too much insecticide, pesticides, so that has resulted land degradation and drying up our aquifer. Aquifer means they had started underground water, so it reduces aquifer and destroyed our biodiversity. Gene revolution. Gene. In today's world, gene revolution is a keyword for revolution in agriculture production. How? It is based on genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is required. It is an important tools and supplement. We can invent a new hybrid varieties of the seeds. Another one is organic farming is also popular nowadays because it is practiced without factory, because factories are making fertilizers, they are using making chemical fertilizers and pesticides, but organic farming is good because these are made from the plants. According to the new few economists, what they are saying that Indian farmers have no bright future. How? If they continue growing food grains only and on holding of low productivity, and as because population is rises and they will not develop, so the government must make some policy that to make our Indian farmer, they can shift their cropping pattern from cereals to high value crops, means they give preference to these high value crops. This will make them better, and as well as it can reduce the environmental degradation, like fruits, medicinal herbs, flowers, vegetables, biodiesel crops like jatropha and jojoba. These need less irrigation than rice and sugarcane. So government can encourage the farmers to grow these type of crops. Then India is having different type of climates and different geographical factors, so they can grow wide range of these high value crops. If the farmers are encouraged to grow this, then it will be increase our economy also. Benefits for changing pattern in India. If we are change our pattern of agriculture, what type of benefits we will get? See here, if India changes cropping pattern from cereals to high value crops, then we have to import food. We had to import food also, we had import during 1960, but that time was a cause of some natural disaster. That's why we had imported. However, if India imports cereals while exporting high value commodities, so it will be following successful economies like Italy, Israel and Chile. Do you know? These countries export farm products, example fruits, olives, especially seeds and wines, and import cereals. So Indian farmers also have been exposed a new challenge and increase the economy of the country. So our government have to be promote these farmers. They can use these type of crops, so that will increase in our economy, more economy in the agriculture. Now, so what we studied in this topic of the agriculture, what are the different type of farming patterns, what type of crops we are growing, what are the cereals, what are the crops, what are the non-food crops, and how the agriculture help in increasing in the economy of the country. Now today I am taking another chapter that is of economics, chapter number 1, development. Now in economics chapter number 1, development. Now what we are going to study, this meaning of the development, different peoples and different goals, incomes and other goals, national development, comparison of the countries or other states, how we can compare through national income, through per capita income, World Bank, per capita income and other criteria. My dear students, you see, what is called the development? Because development involves desire, aspiration, what we like to do, how we do like to live. Development includes freedom, perspective, security, involvement, economic equalities, life with dignity, etc. So that we call development. All of us has some aspiration, we all are desire for development, but development of persons are varies from person to person. Like all the peoples are not a same goals, they are having different goals for the development, like person to person, region to region, state to state or country to country. See here, meaning of the development. Development applies to all round development of a country, like freedom, participative involvement, economic equality in the country, security of life and life with dignity and good standard of living. If all will be there, then there is a good development of the country. See here, what are the different, can the different peoples have different goals? Yes. What are the 2 points? See, different persons can have different goals. See, I am giving the example. Suppose one landless laborer farmer living in rural area. What is the goal? What he want to be? His goal is that every day he will get the work, so he will get the income, so they will feed their family well, and they want the school in the area where they are living, so their children will be go to the schools. This is his goal. If it will be available, then its goal will be finished. This shows that different persons have different goals. Second one, development for one may not be development for another. It may be even destructive to others. See the example how. Suppose, see, industries. The industries want more dams. Why? Because they need electricity requirement. But do you know, it is useful, this goal is for industries, but not for other, it harms other. How? See, but what happens if we construct more dams, it displaces the community, forest land will be submerged underwater, and whole ecology of that area may be completely destroyed. So do you understand? The development for one may not be development for another. So how we can do it properly? See this, income and other goal. Income, it is also considered as important for the development. Income is considered as an important component for the development. It can by the income, what you can buy? We can buy material goods and services. Even peoples also seek equal treatment, they want equal treatment, they want equal freedom, education, security, respect for their jobs, peace, pollution free environment, and so on. So these are also other goals for the development. So for the development, people have to look at mix of goals and development goals, including both economic and better quality of life. These are the goals. But for what? For the national development, which type of goals are needed for the national development? The individual seeks a different goals, and their motive for national development is different. See the example, a farmer of India, what he want? He want that there is a development only in the farming, whereas a trader, he want another type of development. A teacher, they want another type of development. But these are the different goals for the different person. But when we want to take for the national development, so priority is given to those goals which give benefit to large number of people. So any goal we will fulfill and it will give the benefit to large number of people, then we call it is a national development. Next, how we can we compare the countries or state regarding the development? See, on the basis of the development, our countries are classified into developed countries, underdeveloped, and developing countries. How we say this country is a developed country? Developed countries have higher income, while developing and underdeveloped countries have lower income. So in this way we are saying it is developed countries or underdeveloped or developing. How we can compare them? That it is a developed country or underdeveloped country? See, comparison through national income. Can we compare with the national income? See, what is the national income? The national income is the income of all the residents of the country over a particular period of time. What is the total income of the resident of particular period of time? That is known as total income. Countries with high total income are considered to be developed. Their income is higher. So the countries like USA, UK, Japan. However, this is not it is a useful measure, as country have different populations and we are comparing them by total income, will not state that average amount earned by a person. It is not a right method we can compare. So comparison through per capita income. What is a per capita income? First, per capita income gives better comparison. It is calculated. How we can calculate it? It is calculated by dividing total income of country, GDP, gross domestic product, by total population. And it is called average income. Do you know GDP? All the three sectors, primary, secondary and tertiary sectors, total value at particular year that will be, and then it is divided. See, but can it is having some drawbacks? Yes, it has a drawback. What type of drawback? It hides disparity. Which type of disparity? See, when a small section of peoples, if they have high income and the average income also get high, but it did not give any proper idea about the actual situation of the country of that place. So it is not a right criteria to compare with this. Now, what is the criteria of World Bank report on per capita income? See, World Bank publishes World Development Report, that is called WDR. Every year compare the nation on the basis of the per capita income. See, how the World Bank had classified the country as follows. How they classified? See this. The countries with per capita income of US dollar 12,056 per annum above in 2017, they term these countries are called rich countries, and the country with PCI of US dollar 995 or less than it are termed as low income country. So these two criteria they classified. Now, so in 2017, India's per capita income was only about US dollar 1,820 per annum. So it was classified as low middle income country. Now can only income is only the criteria? No, income and some other criteria are also. Can we only compare with this income? No. So you just see income and other criteria. So development of the level of nations or any region should be judged on the basis of some other attributes rather than income. So you see, to understand this, we have to do some comparative analysis of three states. Here I had given one chart, Haryana, Kerala and Bihar. From various aspects we can see whether it will be well developed or not. See this comparison data on Haryana, Kerala. See state, infant mortality rate, literacy, net attendance, per capita income. Infant mortality rate means the child, what does it mean? The child born and died before the age of 1 year among 1,000 live birth. That is called infant mortality. Literacy rate, at the age of 7 and above the child can read and write. Net attendance ratio, can in at particular area the attendance ratio as per 100% how many children are coming to the school, and the age of 14 and 15 how many are coming to the school, that is net attendance ratio, and per capita income. So you see, first we are saying Haryana infant mortality rate, it is 33, Kerala it is 10, Bihar it is 38. Now next rate of literacy rate, see Haryana 82, Kerala 94, Bihar 62. Net attendance ratio per 100% and secondary age of 14 and 15. See this, Haryana it is 61, Kerala it is 83 and Bihar it is 43. And when we see the chart of 2015-16 per capita income, Haryana 1,62,034, Kerala 1,40,190, Bihar 31,454. So from the comparison of these table, what type of development we concluded among these? See the first, the per capita income is highest in Haryana, but where it is lowest in Bihar. So what does it indicate? It indicates that employment status and scope of the earning is quite less in Bihar. Next, IMR, infant mortality rate. It is lowest in Kerala, only 10. And where it is highest in Bihar. So, and high per capita income does not giving any guarantee for better health facilities. Third, literacy rate. Literacy rate is highest in Kerala and it is lowest in Bihar. Next, net attendance ratio is highest in Kerala and lowest in Bihar. So can only the income is the right criteria? No, there are so many others also by which we can analyze this. No, so these aspects, what does it indicate? That per capita income is not a best criteria to decide for the development, but there are some other basic facilities and quality of life is also a matter, must be proper counted for the development. Do you know what are the basic needs of the people? Food, health, education and shelter. If it is available for, then we can say it is developed or not. See, now our government has made so many measures to improve the quality of the peoples. So first, see what is called public facilities. Monetary development or more average income may not procure only for better life. It cannot buy. If we are having high amount of income, but we can not buy any free pollution environment, unadulterated medicines and foods, or protection from the diseases. Second one, so public facilities are must, like primary, secondary schools, good healthcare facilities, cleanliness. These are also important for the living of the peoples. Public distribution systems, PDS. What is called public distribution system? PDS means the government is providing the food materials on subsidized rate to the people. See, some states like Tamil Nadu has a well functioning public distribution system for supply of food. See, grains to the poor people in rural area. Now whereas Jharkhand, they are not have such good efficient system. So in Tamil Nadu, do you know 75% of the people who are living in the rural areas, they are using ration shop. Whereas in Jharkhand, only 8% of rural peoples are able to do. So you can see, can these systems are well developed? Somewhere it is going well and some are not. Body mass index. What is this body mass? BMI. Nutrition is another important aspect for the development internationally. It is standard, it's as standard known as body mass index, BMI. How we can take BMI? What are the criteria? See, to determine whether any adult person is undernourished or not. So how we can find out it? See, if divide the weight of a person by the square of his or height, so we get a ratio, it is called BMI. See, formula is BMI equals to weight in kg, height in meters. See the example. If the BMI is below of any person, 18.5, the person is undernourished. And if it is over 25, then we can consider the person is overweight. How? See, if the weight of a person is 50 kg and 1.65 meter tall, will be considered as undernourished. However, if the same person whose weight is over 68 kg, so we can consider this person is overweight. So this standard is not applicable for growing children, only where we are taking for the adult person only. Okay. Human Development Report, this is published by UNDP, United Nations Development Program. It is one of the best method to measure development. They had adopted the 3 criteria. First is the living standard, per capita income. Second one is health status, life expectancy. And third one is the educational level of the people, means how much literacy rate and enrollment ratio. Do you know India occupy 130th rank in HDR during 2018. The Human Development Index considered public health, education to measure the human development. Now, you have seen the countries had done the development by using too much natural resources and they exploited our nature. So, a new concept came that is called sustainability of that development. Do you know? Economic development in the developed countries and developing countries has been attained at the cost of natural resource and environment, because they use too much these natural resources and disturb the environment for the development. Example like access of the mining like iron, gold, silver, coal, etc. And all these are led to the depletion of the stock and they exploit our natural resources. Do you know the smoke and other poisonous gases which are released from the factories, they lead the environmental pollution. So what do you know? These poisonous material, they will affect the lives of the peoples and future generation also they disturb. So environmental degradation and sustainable development is also an important regarding this development. Our mismanagement earlier of this mismanagement of natural resource will result into environmental degradation. Now it is necessary we can focus on sustainable development rather than development. Some examples you just see that. Now the groundwater in India is depleting. Mostly you can see the depletion of the groundwater resource in Punjab, West Uttar Pradesh, hard rock plateaus of central and south Indian points to overuse of growing urban settlement. Do you know 40% of our groundwater resources are deployed? So what we have to be very careful regarding this. We have to improve again this water resource by rain harvesting methods and some other methods. Next one is exhaustion of natural resource. According to this World Energy Review done on June 2018, they had explained that the total reserve of crude oil stock in the world is going to only for the last 50 years and it will be finished. So what we have to be very careful about when we are using these materials, and we have to adopt some alternatives for that development. See, for the development of any country, we have to be now use the method of sustainable development without damaging any environment, and we do the development. We can adopt some alternative methods which can be renewed easily. So in this way we can develop well and save our environment and for the future. Thank you. That's it.